Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I think it's better with a hat, right? We're
Yeah,
better with a
it's
hat.
good.
Pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah,
most
I like
people
the
listen
hat.
to audio anyways.
I know they do. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but hello, all. Welcome to the show. I am here. Garrett is here, and of course, Amy is here as well today. Hello, Amy.
Hello.
How are
How are
you?
you?
I'm good. I like your sweater.
Thank you.
Is this V-neck? Do you show off some stuff or no?
Yeah, no, not really.
Not really.
No,
Okay.
not so much.
Yeah.
No, hate to
Yeah.
disappoint.
Yeah, you got a couple buttons in the way. If you want to change that, go ahead. But, how are you, my friend? How was your weekend?
It was good. There was no Lions, which was disappointing. But you
Yeah.
know, as I
Yep.
watched that game yesterday, I don't know that the Lions would have beat the Eagles.
Yeah, I know. I'm starting to think like that too. The more I think about it, the more it's like when I was watching like the Chiefs game, all I could think was, yeah, you take Chris Jones off this team alone, and they're going nowhere.
Right.
And then you think of the Lions. I was going through yesterday with, you don't even think about just how deep that goes when you're talking about secondary linebackers, defensive line, like decimated. So
Yeah.
many guys. Aline McNeil was the last nail in the coffin to me,
Yeah.
where it was like
Yep.
you had there was just no, and the first time you saw a potent offense kind of go in there, but then you saw the Redskins come right back down to reality
Yep.
with what they
Yeah.
truly were. So it's too bad because the Lions, I mean, it just sucked. It sucked for me too.
Yeah. It was a
Like
big
this
bummer.
weekend sucked. The NFL's done everything they can to take me as a fan and go, yeah, I don't care about you anymore.
Yeah.
So it's been trending that way for years, which just kills me because it's literally, hand, mouth, butt, vagine and football. And
Right.
like how you lose me. But I'm like, my brother's like, so you fired up for championship weekend? I'm like, yeah, no, not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
Like the Lions have sucked my whole life. And I was super excited for every football weekend. Now I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah.
if my team's
You know
in
what,
it,
though?
maybe.
I was talking
It's
to E.
crazy.
I was talking to E about this, and I just think that, like, think about being a Bills fan, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being good and then constantly losing in, like,
Yeah.
the game before. Like, honestly, I think that might be worse than just being a shitty team and being disappointed every year that
Yeah.
you're, like, still kind of a shitty team. Like, in the grand scheme, imagine being to 4 Super Bowls in a row and
Yeah.
losing all of them.
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy. So, like, in comparison, I like while we have suffered because we've really never been good in the grand scheme of things, I don't think we've really suffered that much. And like, just like
Yeah,
last year,
but
I thought, like, can we really do this again next year? Like, this was our only chance and we just blew it. And then we came back and we were 15-2 and like half of our team was injured. So,
well,
you know,
you don't want to be that team that everyone regards as like, oh, they're that team in the regular season. You don't want to be the Cowboys.
yeah, right.
You don't want to be
Right.
that. You want to go in
You
and
don't want to be
fucking
you don't want to be the Bills.
No, you don't want to be the Bills. Like the Bills, I feel bad for. The Bills was a weird thing because you were probably too young. Garrett wasn't even born yet when they were having those 4 Super Bowls. The Bills were in some of those was like, oh yeah, the Bills are going to run roughshod over the Giants, or there were a couple of them they weren't favored in, but there were a couple, and they got fucking crushed. Heartbreaking losses, just didn't show up in one. Absolutely annihilated versus the Cowboys, like, and it didn't make sense. It was like this isn't the same team that we watched all year.
Right.
The Lions, like the injuries did them in. It wasn't coaching. It wasn't
totally.
ownership. It was that caught up to them. So, but some of
And
those
honestly,
calls.
it's a shitty game plan. Watching what the Eagles did yesterday to Washington, the fact that
Yeah.
Gibbs only got 14 touches is insane. Because every time he was touching the ball, he was running for like 8 or 9 yards.
He was. If you get off your game plan, that's never good. You
Yeah.
need to be the one in charge. That's why scoring first is really important.
Yeah.
In a lot of these
Yeah.
big games where it's like, okay, we can establish and then go from there. And you want
Yeah.
them playing catch up.
Totally.
I don't know that the offensive game plan, while it was weird and I think they pressed, like psychologically, you just know you're not looking at that from an offensive standpoint as just like, hey, we go do our job. Like, no, it would be in their minds like, we know what we've got on defense. We know we've got to play perfect. We have to go out and execute. Like, though all those little things come into play when you're talking about it. And so I don't think it's fair that that offense put up 31 points,
Yeah.
with any semblance of a defense. And you had horrible play. You had a couple terrible picks, a fluke fumble. Like it shouldn't have played out like that, but they probably. So I don't know. Do the Eagles look like that coming into Detroit? Maybe, but
Man, I wish I would have bet. I wish I would have bet a parlay that had Saquon and Hurts scoring 3 touchdowns, because the odds I would have been able to retire. I mean, that's insane that both of them did that. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was disappointed in some of the secondary game. We won't spend much time on this, but it's top of mind really quick. I'm interested in what you've been watching also, Amy, so you can tell me next. But that Chiefs-Bills game, I thought some of that officiating is just like, I hate when people say like, you can't blame the ref. Like, yeah, you can though.
Yeah.
You can blame the refs when they make egregious calls that affect, like, lead 100% to points the other way. You took points off this team and you handed it to this team by that egregious call. Yes, you can blame. I know the coach can't do it because then they look like whiners and sore loop, but no, you can. And I'm sorry, that's a first down Josh Allen picked up on 4th down.
And it's just so crazy to me that, like, we live in the time that we live in. And, like,
doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense that we're relying on men to make, or women, to make human error. Like, it is so crazy to me. And especially with instant replay assist, why do you limit what you
Any
can
of
review?
It.
Like, you're watching it. By the time those guys get up from the ground and get back to the line, they've already radioed to the field saying replay assist, overturn that. It is instant. People are watching the games from every single angle at all times. Like, it's not going to add a ton of time if you review fucking everything. Get it done.
College football does it better.
Yeah.
College football does it better. Every play's reviewed. We don't have to make a special announcement about it. It's like, no, we fucked that one up. No big deal. If I see one more fucking zebra mosey over to the sideline and look at a tiny fucking, like, are you shitting me right now? You're a $1 trillion organization. What are you talking about?
Right.
What are we doing?
Right.
Modify your fields if you have to. Jay and I talked about it for literally a decade. Why have we not gridded the field and chipped the ball? Why do we have some fucking 65-year-old man hobble over and just willy-nilly slap a ball down? And then we act like, let's get the chains out and measure to the millimeter.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
we're
you're talking about
still.
Yes. You're talking about inches, like all this kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, but that guy just slapped it down by a matter of inches.
Right.
That you have no idea where you're just guessing. You're just guessing in a scrum of bodies that, like, to the average Joe, we're looking at this. And I understand if you're a Chiefs fan, like, you and I have no dog in this fight. We can look at this and go, yeah, I don't care about the Bills. I don't care about the Chiefs. That's a bullshit call.
100%.
There's no way you can justify, like, yep, we got this one right. We got this one right on that spot. And you do it all game long, by the way. It only matters at the end of a half or the end of a game is when we care. But they do it all the time. One guy just flips the ball over to another guy and he's off by a yard. Who cares? No big deal.
And one of their, like, Pat McAfee was talking today, actually, to Adam Schefter, and it sounds like they tried to chip the ball, and it was a disaster. It was super delayed. It was like, it took like way too long to get the information of like where the ball was. It was terrible technology. And Adam Schefter is going like, I'm watching golf where they've got the ball chipped and it's telling me exactly the arc it's flying on and how fast it's going and you're telling me the NFL doesn't have access to that technology
to track
Give me a
information.
Break. Give me a fucking break,
I mean,
but also, like,
think about your phones. How long does it take to transmit 2,000 miles across the country to you right now? If I sent you a text right now, you'd have it the instant I hit send. You telling me you can't figure out from the ball to the field? Like, bullshit. I don't believe
But
it.
like also
And-
like I think that it would go so far if I were the NFL, if I were an organization that was constantly being accused of being rigged and interference and all of that stuff, like those are such easy things that you can fix. Replay assist, boom, we're done. No more human error, and chip the ball of some sort, boom, we're done. But then when you don't do it, when there's such simple fixes that it makes the conspiracy theorist or just like a normal person with a brain go, huh, well, when you've now opened it up to gambling and all of this money is on the line.
Yes.
And you're in
That's where
a situation where, oh, hang on a second. The Chiefs were favored by 2.5. And if the Bills win this game, we're losing a lot of fucking money. So let's make some calls here to make sure that the spread stays what it is. You know what I mean? Like that's when you open up to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm closing a bunch of tabs here.
So they would know playing fair means they got to pay out more. That gives them a vested interest in stopping that.
Yeah.
There's too many times when you're watching it where too many people have money on it, and that could be the change. Here's what I'm getting really tired of. I swear to God, if I see one more former official, I don't give a shit if the guy officiated 13 Super Bowls I don't care. I'm tired of these guys constantly where the whole nation's having a conversation and going, yeah, that call is bullshit.
Yeah.
That is a bullshit call. That is not roughing the passer. That's not the intent behind the rule. We all understand the intent behind rules. That's bullshit. And to see one more of these fucking clowns go on TV, either in the booth or the next day on Pat Matt, wherever they are, and go, well, technically speaking, they got that one right. Yeah. Always. This idea that nobody can criticize the humans, like we all understand that the game is going at a speed that is almost hard to comprehend, and human error exists. We're all supposed to pretend that these guys are infallible. They can't make a mistake. Like we are in an information age. You cannot, when we had fuzzy TV screens and it's a bang, bang play and was the runner safe at first? I don't know. Was the slide safe? No, I don't know. And you're relying on that, and they do the best they can, and we're none the wiser anyways because we're watching on a blurry screen. It's not even in high def, let alone 4K. This day we're living in now with 100 4K cameras to the fucking, we're picking up grains of dirt on the field in stunning clarity, and we're gonna get into this like, no, we don't know. We all know we can figure out where the ball is. Mm-hmm. It does matter in these games. There's billions.
There's
of
too
dollars.
much money on the line.
There's too much money, and you know what? Not for nothing. The fans matter too. Even us broke fans fucking matter. We root with our hearts too.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and to see it, I'm sure. If you ask a Chiefs fan, they'll go, oh, yeah, well, in 87, Bird went for a ball and we got fucked. And it was like every team can point to the couple times when they got screwed. But no, we all know that these teams, whether it's Michael Jordan through his career or Shaq or LeBron, what appears to be Mahomes these days, getting benefit of the doubt. I don't know what it is, but it seemed, if it's even close, then, how dare you touch Lord Mahomes?
Right.
And it's like, I don't think Josh Allen's going to get that benefit. Why? Same reason Shaq didn't. He's a big fucking kid. He can take a beating. Cam Newton didn't get those calls. Why? Letter of the law, he got his head taken off. Brutally late hits. He's a big dude. He can handle his own. Josh Allen falls into that category. He's as big as most linebackers, and he'll blow your ass up. But it doesn't change, like some of those were big calls last night in a game that was close, and I don't know, man. And some of the calls in the Eagles-Redskins game even, where it was like,
crazy.
Well, now the game's over. Now the game's over. What could have been potentially, like, who knows how this plays out going forward. You just made it a 15-point game when that's bullshit. And, okay, game's over.
The craziest one in that game was when the the ref goes, we've advised the Commanders that at this point, if they keep committing that penalty, we're just going to give them a score. I was like, you can
hilarious.
Do that? You can just be like, they score a touchdown. Like, what?
That for one play and one play only. that once in a generation play where a guy's running down the sideline and a coach goes and trips him or something. You've seen it like at a high school game where the coach sticks a leg out and trips a guy on a pick six. Like that plays happened. Like if you want to award points to that guy, like, no, you don't even get the option of whether or not some guy would have run a 4-1-40 from behind and taken him down. We're giving him the points. But this, like, first off, that tush push, everyone's offsides every time they run it. Yeah, everybody's moving. Everybody's way inside the neutral zone. Like, it's a joke already. This idea, like, you can't hard count those guys. They're going, they're looking for an eyelash bat to start that play. Like, no, you don't. Keep moving them an inch closer, I guess, quarter inch closer. Like,
you don't just say like, all right, we're sick of calling this penalty, so we're just giving them the points.
Yeah. What?
Like what?
No, that's not one of those, like, we know what that is, where it's like, you know, I don't care. We're going to send a message, and every time this guy goes across the middle, we're just going to grab him and throw him down to the ground. And you pull that shit. The game I was at, was it the Cardinals-Niners game? And Juwan Jennings, the receiver for the Niners, was going up against the Cardinals cornerback. And like 3 plays in a row, they couldn't let the previous play go and just start kicking the shit out of each other. They ended up in the stands, and the next play they're fucking rolling around the ground, ripping each other's helmets off. And finally, after like the 3rd play in a row that this went on, they're like, you're both out of here. It was egregious. It wasn't like, oh, in the heat of that play, it was like, no, they couldn't let it go, and they just kept fighting. And so they threw them out of the game. They just tossed them. And it was like, but that goal line play, it's like, no, man, no one's trying to jump off sides. They're trying to time up an almost impossible fucking play to stop. Like, we'll just award them points.
Right.
Anyway.
What? Like, or you at least give them like award a penalty on the kickoff, like something. I mean, like you don't just like put points on the board for another team. That's insane.
Dude, it would have been just as surprising if they went, we've warned the Redskins, if they continue to do this, we're going to make this touchdown worth 15 points. Like, I would have been like, okay, that's the first time I've ever heard of that weird rule. Like, they might as well have. I've never heard of just giving someone points.
Yeah, no, that is so insane to me. Like, imagine it was a closer game and you like bet the point spread, or and it just like totally flipped the outcome, that the refs just decided to like award points to a team.
It's almost as dumb as that rule that I think burned the Lions a time or two back in the day, in the Silverdome days, when it's like, hey, if this crowd doesn't quiet down so that the quarterback can hear the snap, we're gonna award a first down and personal foul and kick the coach out of the stadium. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
Right, right.
Yeah, the crowd's too loud. We're gonna need people to quiet down. And what do you know? The Detroit Lions crowd didn't respond the way they hoped, and they made it twice as loud. Like, dude,
exactly. Don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah, how dare you? Don't even think about throwing a beer can on the field. Ooh, I didn't even think I forgot about that cool move.
Yeah, right. Like, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, thanks for reminding 80,000 of us that we should all whip our fucking cans of beer on the field. It's just stupid, man. It's
getting so bad that boycott the Super Bowl is trending right now everywhere.
Is it?
Yeah. Because of bad calls in the refs.
Yeah,
if you subscribe to the theory that the NFL is rigged and the colors of the logo predict games, then I've got news for you. I think the Lions might be headed to the Super Bowl next year because there is blue in the logo.
Okay, did that come true this year? What is it? Red?
Yes. It's red and green.
This year is?
Yeah.
I thought there was some yellow in it too, so they were kind of covered if the Redskins made it. What's that?
I think it's like red, yellow, green, and like
What do you think? Like the NFL is rigged, quote unquote. The hashtag, I don't buy into that at all.
No,
I do not.
But
believe
it's kind of fun.
I believe it's rigged in that human beings exist and there are biases that creep in. Like, the thing with celebrity and overwhelming celebrity is even other celebrities see it and go, holy fuck, that's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Holy shit. You can have the biggest star in the world. They look at another celebrity and they see the same thing that everybody else sees. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that officials on some, even if they're trying as much as they can, they know who Patrick Mahomes is, and they know how devastating it would be if Patrick Mahomes was knocked out of a game for the like it. That's a real thing. I think that the same applies to LeBron James or, any one of these like transcend their sport, sized people. Patrick Mahomes falls in that category where it's like, do you think, who was the example? Like Mariota or something, or name the B-list quarterback that you're just like, yeah, Mitch Trubisky. Do you think he's going to be officiated the same way on a call? I
think that bias might be something along the lines of everybody's watching Patrick Mahomes on every single play, and if we fuck this up, we're going to be number one on trending because we're letting Patrick Mahomes get lit up, and so then they overcorrect naturally, and so now they're throwing things that nobody else would get the benefit of because everybody is watching every play of Patrick Mahomes, and now they've overcorrected the situation, and it was so crazy to me that in the Lions game, when the fines came out, Jameson Williams got fined more for humping the ground in his celebration than that lineman got for literally taking Goff's head off. That didn't get the flag.
Yeah.
Like when you say that you prioritize player safety and that's how you're handling it, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you about that in specific because that was announced that player was fined. That's an egregious hit. That's one where you could have eye in the sky within seconds. The first time you saw the replay, you were like, "Oh my god, that's
Goff going to the medical tent was enough that anybody had to see. Like he got hit so hard that they had to evaluate him."
Would you like to see it where you have a league where, because some things like that's not a penalty if the ref didn't see it, where you have an eye in the sky, almost like a god figure going, oh, that guy thought he got away with one.
Yeah.
Where
master
you go,
ref is in the booth somewhere watching it on TV. There's like a master umpire ref that's sitting in the booth and watching it on all the screens and talking down to the people on the field.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we'd like that. It's so obvious when it's an egregious call like that, where it's like guy uses the crown of his helmet to the chin of your quarterback. Like that's everything you are trying to get out of the league because everybody knows any team, I don't care who they are, if you take their starting quarterback out for an extended series of time or the remainder of the season, like they're done. That fan base, it's over. Like they're trying desperately to eliminate that. You can survive certain injuries. You cannot really survive a starting quarterback going down. So, but you wouldn't like that call if it was like, turns out that touchdown, we had to look at it and there was a hold on the interior line and you see some guy got a hold of, like you wouldn't like that kind of nitpicky officiating. I hate it when it's away from the play. When it's like this side of the field, the play happens over here and 40 yards away, two guys got a hold of each other and they call that. Like, to me, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that part would be annoying. The holding calls would be irritating. For sure.
But
they
would
need to figure that out.
Those really bad face masks or especially like that, a hit to the head. I don't know. I'm not for more policing typically, but that and I don't know what we do. Someone's going to adapt to this and just be like, we're not putting anything but league minimum into our defense at some point.
Yeah.
Like who fucking cares? Pat, you cannot have a sticky corner anymore. Like pass interference, like the absurd pass interference calls.
And they need to change that. They need to change that to the college rules. I mean, a spot of the foul is insane.
Yeah.
You just need to get 15 penalties. Yards. Yeah. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Why even defend it? Why even defend it?
Yeah. No, I sort of get it. Never had that much of a problem with it, but now it seems abused. It seems like these 50-50 balls, it's like, okay, why not just do it 3 plays in a row? And, because this idea of your quarterback wildly underthrows the ball and you just run back into the defender and that's pass interference seems stupid to me. These ones, there were a couple calls. I can't remember off the top of my head exact specifics, but there were a couple where I'm like, even though that was a touchdown, they threw a flag on it anyways and said it was passing. It's like, no, it wasn't. That was just decent coverage. He's got his hands on a big fucking deal. Did he yank him down? Did he turn him around? No. So let him go. Let him play. It's just, I don't know. I don't know, but they keep trending this direction. To me, it's almost unwatchable because my first reaction after a touchdown these days is not to celebrate.
Where's the flag?
Where is it? Where's the flag? I know it's coming. It might be late, but it's coming. Like, it's just awful. It's awful. Hey, before we started, you were talking about shit you've been paying attention to. Ames. What have you been following?
I'm super into the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni drama that's happening in Hollywood.
Okay,
it's
who's
such
Justin
like
Baldoni?
first world problem.
Who is that?
He is the star of this movie with Blake Lively that came out, I don't know, last year. It's a movie adaptation of a book, a really popular book, I guess. And Justin Baldoni and his company purchased the rights to the book. It was his movie. Like, he's the director, producer, actor. It was his movie. Like, he invested in it, and he's a super, like, he's a male feminist. Okay,
pull a picture up, Garrett. Well, I want to see if I even recognize the guy.
You won't. Okay. I think he was in, like, I don't know, Jane the Virgin or something on TV. Like, has not been in a lot of stuff. But
Justin Baldoni. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So he does. So this is a really popular book. So it's going to be a popular movie. Okay. And it's about, like, domestic violence. And it kind of has that tone to it. So, like, Justin's super into, like, oh, I want to, make sure I'm doing everything right and blah, blah, blah. I want it. So, okay. Just male feminist. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he cast Blake Lively to play his love interest in the movie.
Okay.
And everything's going great, whatever. They're filming the movie. Then the strike happens. They have to take a break. And then when the strike stops and they're about to go film again, she sends all, like, this huge list of, like, demands saying, you must do all of these things, 17 things, or I'm not coming back. And it was totally out of nowhere. And it was, like, alleging that he was inappropriate with her and he was saying things that were inappropriate. And she was trying to have this, like, Me Too moment. Okay. And so then the premiere comes and she says, I'm not coming to the premiere unless Justin Baldoni's entire family is in the basement of this venue. So they are demoted to the basement. Okay. Like, not even, they weren't allowed to watch the screening at the same time as Blake. It was like this crazy thing. And so people were starting to notice, like, on social media, they were like, what is going on here? Like, clearly something is weird. And then, like, Blake Lively, whenever she would promote the movie, she was talking about, like, her hair products that she was coming out. It was just, like, super tone deaf because it's this movie about, like, domestic violence. Yeah. And so then it starts coming out that she essentially took the movie over from him. She stole it from him. She took it from him. She started writing scenes. But now it's starting to come out that, like, really Ryan Reynolds is behind all of this.
Oh, God.
And I think what happened is Ryan Reynolds was off filming. This is all alleged, by the way. Ryan Reynolds was off filming Deadpool at the same time she was filming this movie. The writer's strike happened. He comes home. And there's this really random request from Blake to Justin that says, can you send me all of the dailies for the movie? Which is, like, just the raw footage of, like, people just talking, like, hours and hours and hours. Like, it's a weird thing for an actress
this is a jealousy
to request.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's suspected that Ryan comes back and he's like, let me see the dailies. And he sees what's happening between these two. And he's like, oh, no. This isn't going to happen. So then he starts going to set once they start filming again. So it's just this whole big thing. Okay. So Blake files this complaint. It's not a lawsuit, but it's a complaint. And then she leaks it to TMZ or New York Post or somebody. And so then it's this whole big smear campaign against Justin Baldoni. So Justin Baldoni says, hold my beer. And he files a lawsuit, an actual lawsuit. He's suing the New York, whoever the publication was, for defamation. He's suing Ryan, Blake personally. And he provided all the receipts. I mean, all the receipts of the text messages and all the crazy shit that she was doing. And her and Ryan just seem like insufferable, miserable people. And they and they're besties with Taylor Swift. And so one of the times Blake invites Justin over to her place, and there is Ryan, Blake, and Taylor Swift. And they present him with her rewrite of a scene. And Taylor and Ryan are talking about how much they love it, how great Blake did, blah, blah, blah. And so later on, Justin was like, I would have thought you did a good job without Ryan and Taylor there also telling me you did a good job. I would have seen it with it's just hey, these are the two most powerful people in Hollywood. They're sitting here by my side, you better like this or you're going to feel their wrath. They had the same representation as Justin Baldoni. They essentially, allegedly, made them decide it's Blake and Ryan or it's Justin Baldoni. So they, or maybe that's the Sports Academy, UMG, whatever it is, dropped Justin Baldoni. So, I mean, it's just it's such petty Hollywood drama that truthfully I would not usually care about, but for some reason I'm super into it. So Candace Owens is doing a great job covering it. So if you're interested, look up Candace Owens.
This, that stuff sucks. I've been through very small levels of this years and years ago where it's my early day merch guy, for instance, was like, you either dump Walters or you can't sell merch for us. And you're like, what the fuck? What? Who? Holy shit!
Right.
That stuff happens. That stuff goes on. It's kind of bananas.
We've had it with Big E here. It's either get him off the show or I'm done listening.
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
I'm just kidding with him.
Yeah. It's. I don't know. TJ Miller did an interview yesterday, I think, with or recently with Adam Carolla.
And said Ryan Reynolds is a huge dick.
Yeah, and this sucks because it's very common for people to think these people you see on the movie that the character they're playing is how they must really be, that they're really this way, oh my God, they're that witty and that funny. And they have the perfect comeback at the perfect moment all the time. And it's no, they're pretty good at acting out what someone else wrote for them. And Ryan Reynolds falls into that category of holy shit, how many people love Ryan Reynolds for, whether it's the cult stuff going back to The Waiting, wasn't that his? It's the same character, by the way.
Yeah.
Those are it's Deadpool, just a younger version. Yeah. And not quite as well written, but it's the same type of thing. And there's a couple other ones early in his career too. But TJ Miller brings up the point, look, no, he wasn't that big of a star when Deadpool hit. He not many people really knew who he was. And then it becomes the biggest thing on planet Earth. Right. And that changes people. And it's it does. Violently changes people. It's very hard not to listen to it, and it doesn't take many. You can only imagine on a global scale what that would be like to have people telling you how great you are, how, oh my God, this movie is so much better with you involved, or this. It doesn't even. But one thing you have to know is when you meet people that are fans, if you will, or supporters, it's very hard for them to be honest with you if there's something they don't like about you. Mm-hmm. So you're not even getting a base outside of family or really, really close friends. It's very hard to judge without thinking, yeah, man, everything I'm doing is just coming up roses.
Right,
Everything I say is awesome
yeah.
because you get a room full of people. I've run into this. I know what this is like to be in a room with 500 people and they're all there because they like what you do. And you don't get like, well, 2/3 of the room is kind of being really cool. And oh my God, they're reminding you of all the great things you've said and how you made them laugh. But there's that 1/3 over here that's keeping you in check. Like that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So if you think about that on a scale of Ryan Reynolds, that would be so life altering to have, like, you're the number one movie star in the world overnight.
Yeah.
And adapt to that.
Well, and I also think like he was with Scarlett Johansson when he met Blake Lively on a movie set, broke up with Scarlett Johansson, got with Blake Lively. So when that's how your relationship started, presumably, I would think, you might go into it thinking, okay, so you have a proclivity to start stuff with guys on a movie set because you did it with me. And so now I'm out of the country filming Deadpool and you're here kissing on this dude and I'm Ryan Reynolds. And what's also crazy, did you see Deadpool versus Wolverine?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the end of the movie where there's Nice Pool and Nice Pool walks up and he's like, it's fine. I can say this because I'm a male feminist. And he's got like a man bun.
Yeah. He's the one with the dog.
With the dog. They are saying that was not in the movie. That Ryan Reynolds freestyled that. He added that at the very end of filming, and it was a direct shot at Justin Baldoni, whose hair used to look like that, and who's this uber male feminist. And there was this whole thing about like an intimacy coordinator. That was one of the like bullet points. There had to be an intimacy coordinator on set. And so like people are going back to old posts from Ryan, and he makes a post about about Dogpool on there. And he's like, oh, most people don't know this, but Dogpool is our intimacy coordinator. And it's just like really weird stuff that now you look at it and you're like, huh.
Yeah. What was behind that? Why was that said?
Right.
That's fucking interesting.
It's
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and because one of the things that they said Justin did, because apparently Justin has these really bad back problems. He's been hospitalized for it. He had to lift Blake Lively in the movie. And so he asked their mutual trainer, do you know how much Blake weighs? Because she had just had a baby. Do you know how much she weighs? Because I need to know how much I'm lifting because I can't lift more than X amount or whatever.
Yeah.
So, in that movie, Nice Pool, he's like, you should see Lady Pool or whatever she's called. She just had a baby, really slimmed down. You can barely even tell. And so it's just like, it's just so, and that's when they're like, I don't think you can say that. And he's like, no, I can. I'm a male feminist.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think allegedly what happened is that when they had this kumbaya meeting at Ryan and Blake's apartment where they basically laid into him like, how dare you say my wife is fat, blah blah blah. I bet Justin Baldoni was like, dude, I'm like super woke, I'm a male feminist, I don't give a fuck how much your wife weighs, like this is so I bet then he's making fun of it going, no, I can say that, I'm a male feminist. It's crazy.
That's really interesting. When I had back surgery last year or the end of the year before, whatever it was, and they're adamant about that stuff, about like, you can't lift more than for the first X amount of weeks or months, more than 25 pounds. And you're like, but yeah, motherfucker, I can check it. And it's like, no. You might be able to, but you can't.
Yeah.
You can't lift over X. And then for the next, whatever, you can't lift more than this. Like so if you're talking about a back injury, I know, obviously she weighs more than 25 pounds, but I don't know where he was in the, but they're very adamant about that. And you might actually feel like you can, and you probably can, but it's like, no, they're trying to avoid big time setbacks. And that sucks because for someone like me, I always looked at Ryan Reynolds like, that's the kind of dude I'd want to be in Hollywood.
Cool dude.
Like that. Fucking super cool, super funny. Like that's the kind of dude you'd want to be. I bet he's like that off camera too, that he's just fun to be around. He's funny and smart. Like it sucks to think like,
Yeah, he's probably just a total jealous dickhead. He knows he's got this super hot wife And,
And plus, he's coming off one of the biggest movies ever because Marvel's been in a huge slump and he pretty much kind of revived it a little bit right there. So he's got to be riding on the highest horse ever.
Yeah.
Which seems like a really easy lesson to learn for Hollywood. They won't learn it, but would be easy is just like, don't care about who you might offend or piss off. Just make it awesome. And that's the takeaway from Deadpool. Is it funny? Then we say it. And that's what you go for. We don't go for like, oh yeah, how many women kicking ass in this scene do we have? Like, no.
Right.
Is the kicking ass good? Is it relevant? And is the dialogue strong? That's all that matters. That's all anybody really cares about. Nobody is walking out of there like, I feel so represented. Did you see all the trans empowerment in that movie? Like nobody. It's crazy. So, but they won't learn that lesson from Deadpool or from any movie, any comedy from the early 2000s to 2010, probably. You can go, wow, these are just bangers every year. Talladega Nights and just go down the list. Borat.
The first Hangover movie. Oh. When they're like paging Dr. Blank.
Faggot.
I'm like, you can say it.
You're good. You got the pass.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. And we all know what that is. And we can all laugh at ourselves a little bit. And, I don't know. I'll never fully understand this. I don't know why the gay community doesn't fuck with each other. Like when Greg Henson's coming on, like I'll text you and be like, hey, what are you doing later? You want to do a show? And you're like, yay or nay, depending on what you got going on. When I have Greg Henson out, I'll be like, hey, you think you could pull out of your boyfriend fast enough to maybe do a show in an hour? And he's like, yeah, let me finish on your mom's face real quick. And then I can be there.
I'm a little offended. Can you start texting me like that, please?
I don't want to be in a Blake Lively thing where Amy's like, I'm getting subpoenaed for my sex.
Next thing you know, you're on stage like Bill Burr.
I don't really think Greg, I'll start doing that to you, Amy, I promise. Okay, I don't at any point think Greg is balls deep in some random dude or that he's coming on my mom's face, ever. Right. I don't know why gay guys don't, in conversation with each other, be like, you fucking vagina eater. What's the matter with you? Like, I call all my fucking male friends fags and dick suckers. Like, whatever, man. Right. I don't know why you don't. Dude, go fondle some boobs. Go fondle some titties.
Dude, pet names for each other are just slurs. Like, we just yell them across the house. I think usually her calling me is faggot, and if I need to call her, it's beaner.
There you go.
I like it. Yeah. Sounds like a healthy relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Totally it is. But this idea that we're gonna stop each other from having these conversations with each other, like, no, I think we all know what they are. Lean into it. It's more fun that way.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, trust me, it is. It's more fun. And I'll start doing it to you too, Ames.
Thank you. Don't treat me any different.
No, I usually don't, but
I know.
With Henson, it for full context, usually I'll text Greg and I won't hear back from him for 2 hours. And then I'll be like, hey, would you mind pulling out of your boyfriend's ass real quick so you can respond? So it usually doesn't start quite so hot.
All right. Yeah.
But it's usually you're pretty good on responding. So I don't feel the need to be like, yeah, you wanna discard from the cock tip for a minute and fucking respond to my question.
Yes.
So all you have to do is be mildly rude or make me wait even 30 seconds longer than I need. And I'll start doing it to you too.
Awesome. Good deal.
Can Rocky pull out of your ass for 1 second, Amy, so you can fucking respond to my text, please? See, that
will get a response.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Speaking of the trans community, we got some announcements today. This is big news. Another executive order. And I've long said the problem with executive orders is anything you can enact with the swipe of a pen, you can also unenact with the swipe of a pen. Mm-hmm. So I don't like this game of we're just going to do this with a swipe of a pen, and then in 4 years we're gonna undo everything we did. And Trump did it to Obama. Obama did it to Bush. Trump is doing this with Biden, and so I imagine if you don't get these through the proper channels, they're easily undone too. This one though is. He's going after DEI programs, which he's been going after for a minute here. He signed 2 executive orders to eliminate DEI from the military and prohibit trans people from service. Okay. He already signed the executive order on day 1 in office, revising Biden's 21 directive, allowing transgender people to serve in the military. A new order will go even further and lay out new military standards regarding pronoun usage and gender identity. Also directly bans transgender troops from serving in the U.S. military. Let's see, Trump has already taken several actions seeking to outlaw DEI initiatives in the federal government. The practices require that certain protected groups like minorities, women, and those with disabilities be prioritized for job placement. So I don't know if those disabilities are mental or physical. I don't know why you would prioritize people with mental disabilities for anything really, but
yeah, right.
The fucking military
seems a bit odd. Trump is also planning to sign one that would an executive order to reinstate service members and give them back pay if they were booted from the military for refusing to take the jab. God bless him for this. And I thought it was key. Back all your back pay, anything you like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Trying to force the strongest among us who are willing to stand up for what they believe in their bodies and whatnot. My body, my choice. People should take note of that. To punish them as harshly and take away pensions, threaten them with all kinds of stuff, to give them full rankings back, reinstate them, and give them all their back pay. I mean, you're talking about 5 years for some of these guys. They're going to get $1 million check.
I know, that's going to be awesome.
It's like, hell yeah. It's not clear when or if current trans service members will be discharged. There are no clear stats on how many members of the military are transgender. There were estimates done, 2018 report by the Palm Center estimates there are approximately, how many do you think, trans people in the military?
I didn't see any.
I don't know, 100.
100? Okay. That's where I would have been. I would have been like, I don't know, like 101. 14,700.
Bullshit.
That's according to the Palm Center. They estimated. So how many military members are there? That's in the millions, I believe.
Yeah.
So does trans in this, does this count as like
Saw it at 2.86 million.
2.86 million
active?
Okay. So when you're talking about 14,700 estimates does that include what are the ones that are, it's not transgender but trans the ones that just like to dress up
like cross-dressers or trans-identify or whatever?
Yeah, what cross-dressers? What is the trans? What is the term for that though? Like transvestite? Is that
like transvestite would be like a transgender?
Is a transvestite the one that just likes to dress like a woman, but I know I'm a man?
That's a drag queen, I think.
That's a drag queen. Back in the day, they'd go by transvestite, but now trans is more just the actual people who are trying to be the whole transition.
Okay.
So they don't really say transvestite anymore, just drag queen.
Did you say that there's 2.6 million?
I read over here 2.86.
Oh, two. Okay. You know what I think they did? I think that they just said, what is the percentage of the general population? And then we're going to apply that percentage to the population in the military. And that, like, honestly, I think that's there is no way. There's no way.
It's such big news anytime you hear of like, oh my God, a trans. There was the one guy who was like a SEAL Team 6 guy or something. He was like a pilot. I think he's come out now and says he's not trans anymore, but he was like full, like I'm just a lady. Don't mind me. I'm just a lady. Yeah. And that was like a 2020 story and Dateline. Like it was crazy. I thought that guy had changed back now. So he's probably hated by the community now. I don't know how that works. And I don't know how far that individual went. It's not really my business, but I mean,
I think like, here's the thing. Here's my thought on it. Like, I just want the same standard across the board. Like, if you're gonna get if you're not allowed to get into the military because you've got bunions on your feet, I want that
Yeah.
to apply to
Yeah.
anybody that's a man, a woman, a trans person, gay, straight, whatever. I want that to be the rule. I want men to have and women to have to meet the same fitness goals
Yeah.
to do something. I want them to be the same. I want everything to be the same. If there's mental health evaluations that are done before you go into the military, if that's the case and there's something that would prevent, if you this is a bad example, but say you can't be on antidepressants and be in the military, that's bad, but say that's a thing, well then I also don't think that you should be able to have this mental disorder and be in the military. So I just want it to be the same across the board. So if there's a trans person that doesn't have bunions on their feet and can pass the fitness exam and can pass the mental acuity that's needed, and they understand that they have to dress as their sex and they have to use the bathrooms and they have to act like they're we're not playing pretend in the military. This is too serious.
I was going to say the uniforms in the military are actually universal, so all uniforms should be all right. They're just
100%.
fitted differently.
Yeah, but you're with the men. If you're not a man playing dress up with the women in the military. We're not playing that game. But if you want to be your sex, then I just want there to be a level playing field across the board, because it's too serious to have anybody in a situation where you're a woman in the military, say, and then you've got this dude that's fucking going to the bathroom next. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we saw this with MASH. I mean, Klinger was a real character in MASH, but I don't know if they had separate bathrooms for Klinger. I think this gets into a couple things. And one of the things they talk about in making this decision is how they do treatments. So a lot of people want a shaved Adam's apple, and they want feminine features, and they want the U.S. government to pay for that, because I'm just doing my service. It could take a minimum of 12 months for an individual to complete treatments after trans surgery, which often involves the use of heavy narcotics. During this period, they are not physically capable of meeting military readiness requirements. It's not conducive for deployment or other readiness requirements.
Exactly. It's almost like pregnancy in the military for me. I think it should be treated the same. If you want to be trans, you got to get out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pregnant women can't serve either.
We've seen this with, like the Army Navy game. Excuse me. When you're talking about the football teams, and it's like, why do they run so much? Why do they run the ball all the time? And why will they never be super competitive, against some of these others? Well, it's because there's Army and Navy requirements, there's size requirements for what you have to do in your service to be in a jet and fly around the world. You cannot be 6'5", 320 and be so your average.
And by the way, you also have to serve. You don't just go there and play football and then leave and go to the NFL. So if you're a serious player, you're not going there.
Right.
And they can't use the transfer portal.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we do this stuff for a lot of things. You guys mentioned the bunions, flat feet, lack of eyesight. You can have all the want and all the drive in the world to become a Navy pilot. You want to be Top Gun. That's your goal. And you got fucked eyes. God went, you don't get the eyes. You don't get to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry. World's not fair.
I went through the process to get in. I made it all the way to the Navy before I, separation and boot camp with the broken wrists and stuff. But the process of getting into the Navy, it's like only 1% of applicants get in anyways. So now you're going to tell me that part of that 1% is just happens to be trans, and that's just medically okay. It's a very expensive process. It's a very medical process. And at the very end of the day, and this might be a little controversial, but I feel like transgenderism is it's a mental illness in the beginning. It's you don't like what you see in the mirror, and you hate everything about yourself so much you're trying to change it.
Right.
And
that shouldn't be allowed in the military. That's not mentally clear.
It doesn't mean you don't have empathy for people for whatever they're going through. It's my problem with the fat movement. It's the same type of thing. It's like, well, you wouldn't ever look at someone with anorexia and be like, skinny's beautiful, and how dare you? Like, you'd be like, oh my God, this person needs some help, whether it's mentally going on. They don't really look fucking beautiful as a waif at 46 pounds. Okay.
Right.
Like, let's not play this game where we're pretending now
Right.
and going against reality. I think that when it comes to the military, like, that when they talk about readiness, like, that's what they mean. Like, we don't have time to fuck around with whatever your individual thing is. Like, we are on ready to, like, this is my interpretation of it. I'm probably wearing my Marine sweatshirt today. I know how these guys behave. I know how they feel. I know how happy as shit some of them are, texting me about my new boss was sworn in yesterday.
Yeah.
Fuck yes, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
these dudes know what it means to have each other's back, and nothing else fucking matters. None of it. None of the political divide, none of your fucking classroom shenanigans, none of your protesting bullshit on the streets matters. I don't think it's appropriate to have activists anywhere near the battlefield. And that's what so much of this push is, that you're willing to just ignore basic realities of a lot of stuff. And whatever your cause is, okay, I don't, when it comes to that unit of our existence, protecting the country, trying to keep you safe, hoping that leadership points them in the right direction, and when they get there, they have one fucking job, and they're absolutely brutal at it. You know, that is their mission. That's what they do. They're like, talk to a Marine. They're fucking warriors. There's something I can't be, but I go to bed every night and thank God that they exist. I do. It doesn't mean they're not without fault. It does, I'm not saying that they're better than everybody. No, but I'm
and like, we want the best of the best. Okay, so I mean, sue me for wanting the best of the best.
Yeah. It's this DEI thing that Trump is signing these things is not going to go out without a fight. Like this, having Pete Hegseth there, I think, is good. I really do. And, people can bitch and whine, and they will. This was on this election. It just was. And, getting him through is big. We have more confirmations coming this week with Tulsi Gabbard, I think, and RFK Jr. and Cash Patel. Hearings. Yes. Hearings this week. Do you have anyone you're looking forward to this week that you're like?
I'm really looking forward to RFK's, and I'm looking forward to Cash Patel, because I think they're going to be like an Uber dick to him.
Yeah. Cash is.
I don't love it. I don't love it when it's like Marco Rubio gets confirmed like 99 to nothing. I'm like, why though? Like, to me, that would be a red flag. Yeah, I'd be like, okay, none of them. Like, the Dems even want him? That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm with you. Mine, I look at that list, like, I love Tulsi. I really do. And people that have been listening to me rant for a decade on this show know I've been talking about my support for Tulsi Gabbard for many years. Long before she ever got into the Trump world. When she was a Democrat. I don't really care
about hers, because I think she's like a no-brainer.
I hope so. They're gonna lean on the same thing. Like, she's got no background in this. She's never led anything. Like, they're gonna pull that shit. But it's for those that are like, you're in a cult, which I see people say all the time. If you're like, I kind of like that guy, you're in a cult. It's like, okay, cute. Yeah. I remember telling liberal friends of mine, like, no, if you put someone competent up that has good ideas, I'd vote for him. In fact, I'd vote for Tulsi Gabbard today. And they wouldn't even know who Tulsi Gabbard was. And I'm like, the congresswoman from Hawaii. Like, yeah, she was making a lot of sense. Her military background was impressive 10 years ago. So Tulsi is great. RFK is great. I don't think it'll change my diet. I eat like shit anyways, but I think he's good. Cash Patel's the one.
Yeah.
I've been rooting for that motherfucker for years.
Yeah, he's
that
great.
Dude is unbelievable. That guy is exactly what you want. All the conspiracy theories you've had over the years, all the fears you've had about there's a group of people operating on this level that you're not invited into, and that goes against you can't know that, and they have more military secrets than you could, like, you could stack paper from here to the moon with the amount of classified this and it all seems like bullshit for national security. It's way overclassified. This dude, like, there's no reason the JFK files are classified. I don't think there's any reason the 9/11 files are. If bullshit went on, if shenanigans went on, I want to know. I want to know if I was lied to by my government. I don't care about who you're protecting. You can still redact individual names to protect, national security. No, if bullshit went on, I want to know. And Kash Patel is the closest thing in my lifetime we've ever had to anyone broaching that. And the fact that they hate him so much tells me, you got the right guy.
It's going to be great.
Pete Hegseth, same way. Yeah, you hate Pete Hegseth that much? Okay, that's the guy I want then. But Kash Patel, this leads into the release of the final classified JFK assassination documents. This is something Trump promised as a day one thing. And he said that last time. He was talked out of it by Mike Pompeo at the time. And a lot of people were really disappointed. And it's led people to wonder, is he full of shit when he says something? He claims he's claimed it last time. This time he went, the gloves are off. He's given them 15 days to release everything on Martin Luther King, on RFK Sr., and JFK.
Nice.
And I am here.
Oh, hell yeah. Me too.
Oh, I am too.
I mean, just listening to RFK, I mean, I think he's pretty sure that Sirhan did not kill his dad. Like, there was, he was there. I mean, Sirhan was tried to do it, but ultimately was not the one that did it. Like, they think it was one of his, like, really good friends and confidants, the way that he was shot.
Yeah. I don't remember that one as much. His dad, Bobby Kennedy, but Sirhan, but I don't know much of the details.
You should listen to. I'll send you the clip. But RFK is on. It might be. It's either Theo Von or Joe Rogan, and he talks about what he thinks happened and how there's like Sirhan. They recovered like all of his bullets, but then there were like his bullets hit other places, and the way that he was shot, Sirhan like wouldn't have been able to get him there. And so like he thinks like my dad was looking into the eyes of like his one of his best friends who betrayed him and just shot him, in cold blood. So like they think Sirhan was like the scapegoat of like, this guy's gonna come in here and do it. He's not actually gonna do it though. We're gonna make sure it gets done.
Yeah. Well, I've paid a lot more attention to the JFK one. And there's industries and mountains of money made on the back of that conspiracy theory. I've listened to Kash Patel talk about it. I thought his interview with Glenn Beck months ago was great, talking about that. And he's probably right when he's like, I've seen them, I've read them all, and they should be released. And there's not much in there that you don't know.
He's like, there's not much in there. Like, you're not.
So
it's not going to be this big thing. Like the fact that they haven't been released kind of adds to the secrecy of it all. Like just fucking release it.
Well, I watched a documentary. I think it came out last year, and it's what the Parkland doctors saw. Okay. That day in Dallas. All right. If you go to Dealey Plaza, and there's some really interesting stuff. There's a couple documentaries out there. Obviously, Oliver Stone's done a lot. And those Parkland doctors, some of them are still alive. And they were first, second, third, fourth year residencies at the hospital there in Dallas, which was like a level 1 trauma center. If you were going to get shot, that's the place you wanted to get shot. And for the first time ever, they talked about what they saw and some of the stuff that was written off, and the guys that like they're adamant about what they saw come into to trauma room 1 that day in the Parkland Hospital, and they're very clear about it. They're all level-headed about it, and it's like, yeah, he was shot in the fucking throat. This idea of a magic bullet that went through and hit the governor and turned left at the elbow and fucking like, no. When you hear from witnesses on the ground, there sounds like there were people on this side of the fence, and that like there was some shit going on at that point. One of the things so I don't think you can just write off those doctors. Like they took his body out of that hospital like in an hour.
Yeah.
Like he's dead, and then the guy that ran the morgue there is like, hey, it is Texas state law that you do the autopsy in Texas. You cannot take a body that was murdered in Dallas outside of Dallas to do the autopsy. And apparently the story is the Secret Service guy literally picked the guy up by the armpits and fucking pinned him on the wall and said, bye. And they just wheeled the body out of the fucking hospital onto Air Force One and gone. And they're like, yeah, they abandoned all Texas state law and just got that body out of it. But those doctors, I'd recommend watching it. It's like,
yeah, I'll check that out for sure.
What the doctors saw at Parkland, if you Google it.
I believe that kind of stuff, but I don't think that there's anything that our government has that we're not going to know about. Like, to the extent that stuff did happen, I don't think our government is like keeping a paper that says that and it's just been redacted this whole time. Like I you know what I mean? Like the stuff that they're going to release, I just think is stuff that we probably already know. But I do think that, I do believe that stuff. I mean, I absolutely, and at the end of the day, I do think that there is something to be said about, was Lee Harvey Oswald part of the CIA? And like, that's the kind of stuff that
he was. He for sure was.
Yeah.
Something. Now he might've been, I've listened to Bill O'Reilly talk about this, and he's just like 100%. The guy was a whack job.
Yeah.
I think he thinks lone gunman, he, and I don't believe that. Now, how this ties back to Kash Patel, I thought Kash Patel leaked a couple interesting things when he talked to Glenn Beck about you guys kind of know everything about the JFK stuff. Yeah, there's a few pages left. He says the 9/11 papers are going to piss people off and so I want to see if they have the balls to release, because there's a lot of people alive today that were alive during 9/11. I want to see that. He said one really interesting thing about the JFK stuff, that he said the real key to the JFK thing is it's going to connect all the dots to see that what they were doing then has continued for decades and today still. Yeah. He says something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Which, if you put that in the context, okay, what Kash Patel is saying there, some of the things I've seen on the JFK stuff talk about a deep state that is not bothered with your silly president.
Yeah.
They do not give a shit who your silly elected, democratically elected president is. And I understand we're kind of tinfoil hatting here.
Yeah.
But when you watch some of those things and you listen to some of those people talk, when you hear some of the stuff that JFK was about, he sounds very Trumpian.
100%.
Right?
100%. Yes.
Like, for all the people that are JFK heroes, like JFK was an upstanding patriot.
Mm-hmm.
JFK there's a lot of Donald Trump in JFK.
Yeah.
With like, I care about the American people, not about this big fucking blob of shit that is making all the decisions.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit what the blob wants. And JFK got as far as that and then got fucking blown away.
He was
Hollywood guy.
He was trying to dismantle the CIA. Don't forget that. That's
exactly.
That's kind of what did it in.
Exactly.
He was trying to take them down 30%. He was trying to take the CIA down 30%.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so when you talk about Doge, so it leads me to think like if Kash Patel is right and the strings keep connecting, like, do you start looking at some of those historical events like we have? And I don't know which ones they are. Certainly kind of points an arrow to 9/11,
Yeah.
maybe the Trump assassination. It leads me to go, they're not done with this, dude.
Yeah.
Trump represents something. You see people flaming out, flipping out all the time, every word that comes out of his mouth. We have this really wild way. It's the only thing I can make sense of it. Like when I see people like, oh my God, they freak out like, oh, he wants to kick illegals out. It's like we need to get murderers and rapists and mental patients out of our country. We
Mhm.
need to start. And they're like, they're coming into our classrooms and stealing Jose, who's just trying to learn. Like people create and invent a story. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter that no one said that or that
Right.
anybody believes that's what's going to happen. No, he's coming for Rosita in my garden. And it's like,
Right.
no, so people invent a narrative. They get confirmation bias from Facebook and from fucking whatever their outlets are that they listen to. And then they freak out about it. And that's what we're dealing with. But it's led people to believe that Trump is some Hitlerian person and he needs to be taken out. And I don't care what anyone says. I didn't think he was safe before the election. And anybody that's listened to the show knows I talked about it for 2 years before he was fucking shot at. I said it was coming and it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You guys can confirm that.
Yeah.
And I still think that group of whatever the fuck they are, unvoted for, unelected officials do not like the idea of some menace coming into their realm and fucking with the way they do things.
100%.
And if you look
100%.
if you look kind of the Oliver Stone way at JFK, you see so many eerie similarities.
And they were
with
both anti-war.
Yeah.
super anti-war.
And that
Super
pisses
anti-war.
the Cheneys off. And he's one of the ones that's part of the deep state.
It pisses
Yeah.
all
No
the
mistake
companies
about
funding
it.
the government off.
Yeah.
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 It's I don't know, man.
Yeah, and I mean the same thing can be said for 9/11 and while it's not it might not be something as sinister as we trained these people to attack our own soil, but
it's
it
worse.
can be something as sinister as we knew these people were here and we didn't do shit about it. The FBI knew stuff, the CIA knew stuff. Neither of them were communicating with each other. And the complete incompetence, just, running wild.
I don't think it was
Yeah.
incompetence. I think a lot of shit
Well,
was
no, I mean, yeah.
Well,
but I
Garrett-
just think it's,
Garrett is still young enough to really believe like the grandest conspiracy. What do you think, Garrett? Do you think 9/11 was an inside job? And
Yeah.
because I think
think there was.
ineptitude plays a big part in a lot of this.
No, I think
it'll be interesting to see if it ties together, like Cash is kind of alluding to, that it's more devious than you even thought possible. Like that would be mind blowing to me. That if there actually was more of a plot instead of ineptitude, I look at government agencies and I see nothing but ineptitude.
Yeah.
That's what I see. Go ahead.
No, like I always tell people, there's that video I sent around called Kitty History from Trevor Moore, who was thrown off a balcony, I completely think by the CIA, because a lot of his comedy was directly poking fun at conspiracies in the government. He might have hit a little too close to home. But it's a very fun look at exactly how Bush was involved with all the funding and the money and getting into a war in Iraq and why we would have done that. And a lot of it has to do with starting 9/11 to get us into Iraq so that he could pay off a lot of debts to the Saudis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, also like Osama bin Laden was a real person who like legitimately hated the United States. And, and I just
Her mic turned off.
You're muted. Are you muted, Amy?
Yeah, I think her mic went off. We got a little too close to home. See what happens?
Yeah, they muted her.
Yeah.
They muted her.
There she is.
Abort.
There you are. There you are.
They have to cut her off.
Holy shit. I'm waiting for the sniper. I'm waiting to see a red dot flash.
Legit.
I'm in a closed room. We're good. It's the bunker for a reason.
Legit. Yeah, I don't but like there is no doubt that when that happened, we took complete advantage of it, and went to
Yeah.
war with people we shouldn't have gone to war with.
Yeah.
When I hear him say things like it's going to piss you off when you hear 9/11 stuff, I think we shot down that plane. It's flight.
Over
I don't think it was
Pennsylvania?
this. Yeah,
Over
I don't think it
Shanksville or whatever?
was these heroes on the plane who took it down and crashed it. Like, you're telling me that our military knew we had 2 planes just went into the World Trade Center. We've got these other ones that are flying around. We know it's been hijacked. You're going to wait for people to take it down? No. You're shooting it down.
Yeah, that wouldn't
that to
surprise me.
Like, when he says that will piss you off. Like, they've made those people into heroes, and they are. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they,
Oh yeah, through no fault of their own, they were
they
in
deserve
that
to be
spot.
hailed as heroes. But like, I think when he says it's going to piss you off, it's going to be like, oh, so you guys did shoot them down. They didn't, it wasn't this whole big valiant effort where they bombarded and took the terrorists down and then
What was
crashed
what was the famous quote? Let's roll.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Todd
exactly.
Todd Beamer, was it Todd Beamer? Was
Yep.
one of the passengers, and that whole narrative of saying
Yep.
goodbye to loved ones on the phone and let's
Yeah.
roll. It's
Yeah.
a plot out of a movie.
It is.
Which
they
is
did make
why,
it a movie.
right? Which is
And
why
the CIA
that's
has a movie budget, BTW. Like, they've got
Yeah.
a whole wing dedicated to Hollywood in the CIA. So,
Sure.
when those movies that come out, like what's
Like
that one
Moon
with Ben
Landing. I'm
Affleck?
just kidding.
Argo. Argo was the CIA made Argo. Like, that was the CIA. There's like
Yeah.
proof of it. So I mean,
Yeah.
like, they're involved in how they want those movies to be.
Oh,
presented.
yeah. Well, for the longest time, we did not know that the NFL just wasn't super patriotic by bringing the flag out and doing the anthem and flyovers. And it's like,
Mhm.
no, that's part of the military budget to
Yeah.
buy into that stuff because it
Yeah.
sells well.
It's
This
advertising.
idea.
Yep.
Yeah. Which I don't really have a problem with that. It kind of sucks that it's not looked at as paid advertising like Budweiser
That's
when
all it
they
should
buy
be. Yeah.
ads. Like, I
Right.
get it. You're trying to recruit people and a heroic patriotic message works. Does that really change? Like, it's an easy sell to the American public. We, especially in this country, like, we make the movies, we star in the movies, and we heroize everybody that's in the movies. And they all have the same hero arc to them. Like, hey, I'm just going about my day doing my thing, and now I'm called to this greater good, and I have to go through this before I can become the hero. It's the Luke Skywalker story,
Yeah.
I have to go through hell before I can come out a better person on the other side
It's a
and then
story
do
as old
good.
as the Bible.
It's exactly. It is a story as old as the Bible. And so, Todd Beamer, let's roll, and we crash the thing, crash the cockpit, and in the struggle, we take the plane down. That's an easy narrative to sell, especially on the heels of, the empire, the bad guys attacked our sacred buildings. And, it's,
But like,
I
as
don't-
somebody who lived through 9/11, and I would have to imagine our parents would probably feel this way about JFK. Like, knowing what we lived through, and as people who have birthdays on the 12th, Mike, that really affected us in 2001. That was a big deal.
absolutely
Ruined our birthday there for a few years.
It
So we were
did.
pretty invested in it.
Yeah.
But to knowing how the country was and how we were, to be told and understand and comprehend that could have possibly been manufactured is so crazy to me. And they have to feel
Yeah.
the same way about JFK. Like, you mean to tell me all of those emotions that we felt, that was our government fucking with us? Like, really?
It changes
scary.
so much. But don't you think it's time to pull the Band-Aid off? Like,
Oh, hell yeah.
if there was something going on with alien life, this isn't the 1930s, right?
That's-
Like, you could, I have a feeling we could handle as a society knowing, like,
Yeah.
okay, like, this is our reality now. Like, okay, I don't think it's going to surprise anybody if you find out. Like, it's just terrifying to think, like, as a citizenry, as a public, you get together and you think you have this duty, a responsibility to elect someone, and you you put your faith in them. You understand that they're not going to be perfect. And some people aren't going to like what they do. And that's what we voted for and so forth. And that it's like, yeah, this ain't going to work. We'll just kill them. And maybe that's what happened with JFK and
Well,
then
and
they
you
get
know
to
what
write the
also
narrative.
kills.
Like it's
What gets me about the Trump assassination guy? Did you see that there was a school shooting last week? It got almost like no attention, but there was a school shooting last week, and almost immediately, I mean, within a half hour to an hour, there was a picture of the guy doing the Hitler salute, and they were like, he followed Hitler and Candace Owens. And so it's a split screen of that kid doing the Hitler salute next to Candace Owens.
Yeah.
And that was within like an hour. And it was like, he just sympathized, he loved that, all that kind of stuff. Still to this day, we don't know shit about the guy that took a shot at Trump, other than the fact that he had no silverware in his house, which is really fucking weird. So
and his phone being at the FBI building in Washington somehow connected right across the street. Like that's just weird as shit to me.
And that time he just showed up in a BlackRock commercial for whatever reason.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay. What are we talking about here? Like, let's, you mean to tell me we know nothing about this guy? Okay.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make any sense. It seems like something we'd rally if it was just on the up and up. It's something you would get all the information out there, and we'd rally as a country around said information. Like, hey, this crazy individual tried to do this to someone that we duly elected as our, to represent us for the next handful of years. Like, and you'd get everything out there. They'd be making TV movies about him already. They'd be in pre-production in Hollywood. Like they'd already be scripts would be handed out about, the guys that took him out. Can you imagine what kind of hero Trump would be with the fight with blood coming down his face? Like it's insane. And I don't even know his name. That should be as common a name as Lee Harvey Oswald. What was it? Thomas something or,
I don't even remember.
Like you don't even know his fucking name.
Right. That just went away. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
I mean, John Wilkes Booth,
who cares,
dude.
who almost shot Trump on national television.
National television. I mean, it's a miracle. It really is. And you guys know me. I'm not very religious, but that's Thomas Crooks. Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't make any sense at all. I love this one too. We'll do one more about the federal employees that need to go back to work and seeing them fucking whine about this.
I love that.
The people tying themselves into knots, trying to act like, what a monstrous move by Trump. This is going to cause traffic congestion and people are going to get themselves sick at work. You're just
They're going to have to go back to doing what they were doing before the pandemic. Like, been doing
like
forever.
We all work which is crazy to think about. I admit.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about, but we all went to the office every single day. And there was this thing, it was called rush hour. And it's when traffic happens, people are going to and from work. And sometimes you even have to bake in extra travel time because there's going to be rush hour.
Yeah. We do you have the video I sent you there, Garrett? This is one federal worker and not just federal worker, but also influencer, which I think is key to the story, which tells me that no, this is not a federal worker and part-time influencer. This is an influencer who also collects a paycheck from the federal government.
It's a federal influencer.
That's
They're
what
here
that
to tell us about the government.
Yeah, so let's hear from her.
It happens. What a way to end the week. 5 o'clock on a Friday. Got our notice. Effective March 10th. We're back in the office 5 days a week.
Oh my God.
No telework. And that's the most fucked up thing is not only did you issue this executive order, Cheeto, but the executive order trumps, pun intended,
good one,
and rescinds any previously agreed upon telework agreements.
Good.
So before I was able to telework once a week when I was in the office every day. Now no mores.
Yeah, no mores.
I am so upset.
Quit then.
I am so
Yeah.
mad. And
You
honestly,
don't have
I
to work
also
there.
feel for the parents.
Mm.
They're going to need to figure out childcare.
Yeah.
They're going to have
Oh
to
my God,
commute.
yeah.
So many people don't live in DC and have to drive so far every
Oh
single
my
day.
God.
Like,
What are we going
It's
to
funny too, because
do?
DC is like one of the only cities with a good
fucking
metro system.
sucks. This sucks.
Yeah, it
And the
sucks.
crazy thing is, we've only just begun.
I hope she's
What do you-
fired.
We're just
Yeah.
getting started on all of this fuckery.
Yeah, there you go,
God, I hope
Elon.
they fired her today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
tell me she's no
exactly.
longer employed.
This is one of those where you expect Elon to walk in the room holding the sink
Yeah.
again, where it's like
Yeah.
the Twitter employees. Remember when the Twitter employees had this kind of tantrum when Elon first bought it, and he just walked in and he went,
Bye-bye.
"You're all fucking gone. 8,000
Yeah.
of you. We're now 3,000 strong. 5,000 of you. Fuck off."
Yeah.
And it's remarkable. Twitter's gotten
Yeah.
substantially
And
better.
you know, guess what? My husband, who did not work at the federal government, before Trump was even elected, found out that he has to go back to the office starting in March, 5
Yeah.
days a week. So that's pretty much in line with what people are doing these days. And you don't like it, go find a different job. It's not that
Yeah.
difficult of a concept.
It's driving us nuts too. I think this all kind of fits together. And I know you've noticed it as well, where you used to just be able to call your doctor's office and someone just answered the phone and
Oh,
you
yeah.
just talked to them and you went, "Yeah, I need an appointment." And you were off the phone with them in 30 seconds. And now, or anything, you bought a product and it was like, I don't know, call the company. And you called Hasbro and you went, "Yeah, I bought one of your Frisbees and it's broken,"
Yeah.
and they'd go, "Oh my God, what's your address?" And someone would deal with it. And now we're in this vicious cycle of no one's there. You're constantly pressing 1,000 buttons, listening to a horribly 14-minute long message. If you're trying to reach so-and-so, if you're trying, like, we all know what, believe it or not, if people are younger out there, that wasn't always the case.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think about it, it was a joke. Most of my life, it was a joke. Like, the DMV, am I right?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that was the one building you had to go to once a year in your community. That wasn't just someplace you wanted to go because you needed their services. It was like, no, unfortunately, you got to go to the DMV. And one thing we all recognized, when the federal government's involved and it's not their money and they're not producing a product that anyone has any passion for, no one gives a shit. And
Yeah.
it's impossible to hide that. It's impossible. Mike Clark used to bitch constantly because Cynthia, his sister, worked for the government. She worked at, just one of the cogs in the machine. And it was like, he would this fucking bitch every day is off. She's got every other day off.
Yeah.
And you can't fire him. You can't fire. There's literally, you can't be fired. And it's like, and why would he bitch about that? Because he loves his sister, obviously, and high sin. If you're seeing this, it's because we all recognized what that was. That these aren't people that have a position that a company they're striving to do the best and keep
Yeah.
customers happy and like.
They're
no,
not doing a
it's-
normal 9 to 5 or like a grueling, labor job. They're going to basically just take days off. It's
Yeah,
sitting
they're
at a
going-
desk and taking days off.
and collect whatever they're getting and just stamp this, stamp that, be a pain in the ass. Like, it
Yeah.
is what it is. It sucks. It sucks. Like, you'd think in this uber connected world we're in, it would make it easier. But the fact of the matter is, most of us, and I understand that I'm not talking to everybody. There's plenty of people out there, probably 5-10% of us that get up and start the day and are just, they take a lot of pride in whatever it is I'm doing today. I always talk about my brother was like that. Like, he was going to be the best floor sweeper in Gene's Hardware when Jay and I were fucking having pellet wars in the back room, hiding from bosses, seeing if we could sneak beers in. G was sweeping the floor and making sure there wasn't any dust and shelves were stocked. And it was like, what a dork. Like, those
Yeah.
people exist that care and take a lot of pride in whatever it is they're doing. But you can't act like that's the majority of these people. So spare me this influencer. If you want to be an influencer, go do it. No one's stopping
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Amy
Right.
just made that point. No one's
Right.
making you go there to work. You don't have to do that.
It's so simple.
It-
But they think they're entitled to
Yeah.
this this role and working from home and you know, like they're so allergic to hard work and earning their
Well,
way and just
tell you what.
feel like it should be given to them.
If they
Yep.
wanna work from home, they should give up their I think they get like a 34% bonus every year for living in the DC area. They should give that up if they want to work from home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
I
I don't wanna
saw
pay 'em anymore.
people.
And that's happened in companies like,
Yeah.
you know, you lived in California, then during
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
get paid a shit ton more if you live in California, and then
Yep.
you moved out of California during COVID and now you work from home and you live in Arizona, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Well, we're not paying you California salaries anymore.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
lowering you to Arizona salaries."
And they pitched a bitch over it.
Yep.
Yeah.
They whined about it. It's like, no, motherfucker, you live in Mississippi now. You don't
Yeah.
live in the Bay Area where a fucking 3-bedroom, 1,000-square-foot home costs $2.5 million.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you live in Mississippi. Okay.
Do you know how many times people tell me like you're 27 and you have a house? I'm like, I live in Detroit. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the costs aren't that bad up here, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not nearly as bad.
No.
It's just I don't understand it. I can't wait. I hope Doge is able to do what they promise, and you just broom these people. It worked with Twitter. You know,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
See ya.
No, doesn't work like that. I did want to do this. I forgot. I totally forgot about this. But did you see the video of Randy Quaid over the weekend?
I don't think I'd have.
Randy Quaid. I love Randy Quaid in Christmas Story.
Yeah.
He's Uncle cousin. What's
Cousin
his
Eddie.
name? Cousin Eddie.
Shitter's full.
Yeah. Shitter's full. Just a peach of a guy. He's kind of off the reservation.
Oh yeah,
off
he's a
the
total
deep end.
nutcase, but hilarious.
He's a big Trumper. Did you know that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know
big
that. He seems kind of crazy. I think there was some story about him sneaking into Canada at one point and running amok of federal authorities or some shit. He's apparently got some beef with Rupert Murdoch. I didn't know about this.
Okay.
And so I went to Chat GPT and I'm like, okay, Chat, fill me in here. What's the beef with Rupert and Randy Quaid? And it told me that he's publicly criticized Murdoch, particularly Fox News, accusing them of destroying his career and reputation. Quaid claimed Murdoch and his outlets participated in what he called a star-whacking conspiracy, which he alleged involved a campaign to discredit him and other Hollywood figures. Quaid's accusations are part of his larger narrative about being targeted by a group he claims manipulates media coverage and legal systems to ruin celebrities' lives. He often tied Murdoch into these allegations, although no credible evidence has been presented. The beef appears to stem from Quaid's broader grievances with Hollywood, the media, and perceived injustices against him. And Rupert Murdoch's a high-profile enough name. And I don't think that's baseless, by the way. You either fall in line lockstep with the Hollywood narrative or you're not welcome in Hollywood. Like
Right.
there are very few, and they're kind of mocked, the Mel Gibsons of the world, Dennis Quaid. There are people that have broken through kind of.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt's a great example of someone who's still like red hot in their career. But outside of Chris Pratt, can you name another one that's like openly, outwardly Christian conservative in Hollywood? Like that, it doesn't make any sense that you wouldn't have, I don't know, 40% of those people in that world, like any other place of business. But no, this whole town. So they definitely are playing along to get along in that town. So Randy's not wrong in that they can single out people and go after him. But Randy Quaid did put up a video this weekend. If you have it there, Garrett.
This one or the other one?
The other
Because
one.
they're both pretty crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let me get the other one. That one's even more
Do
fun.
the other one. That one's a little older. Yeah, that one with that's his wife. That's his wife in the background.
Hi, I'm Randy Quaid, and this is my wife, Evie. I help media giants News Corp and Warner Brothers Entertainment earn well over $1 billion for the films Independence Day and Christmas Vacation. What did I get in return? A Warner Brothers exec, Bruce Berman, stole my house. And News Corp's The New York Post continues to smear me to high heaven with a pack of lies. For good measure, Warner Brothers even had my wife and I falsely arrested 6 times by TMZ.
What?
No, for
TMZ can
real.
arrest people?
That's really how it works. Hashtag PMC. Police media corruption. Ba-dum!
He's all
Evie and I have
love
been
it.
put through a living hell. A living hell of biblical proportion. So how do we retaliate? What do we do? Well, I still have a few tricks too. This is the very same shirt that I wore in ID for when I saved the world. Another act that Rupert Murdoch still hasn't thanked me for. So Rupert, you want to fuck me? I'm gonna fuck you. Evie, put this on.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Maybe you'll thank me for this.
oh.
The
my
disrespect on it, too.
Oh, yeah. Rupert.
This dog starts barking.
Oh my God.
Together, Rupert. Yeah, together, Rupert. Together, we'll wipe out police media corruption. Yeah, Rupert. Yeah, I'm back.
That poor dog.
I know.
Right.
What an actual psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, hey, my guy, that is not the way to get your message listened to.
Well, it sort of is. I wouldn't have cared what he said until he started banging.
But
his
do you
fucking-
know
believe
what?
him?
But after a video like that, you kind of hear him out. You're like, all right, he's serious. Something's going on.
Oh my God. What
Yeah.
a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, it's
That's
up there.
hilarious, though.
It's up
Bad
there.
shit.
I'm not telling anybody how to respond. You know, I mean, he's
literally Cousin Eddie in real life.
yeah. By the way, Independence Day. I don't know. I don't remember seeing it.
I haven't.
So
that's a movie I've seen like once, and I don't think I could pinpoint him.
Did he say
being-
Independence Day 4?
Yeah.
Was
There's-
there were there multiple Independence Days? And so
See, I
he
didn't
comes.
know that.
See, when he's acting like he had some big role in Independence Day, he's not the one I think of in Independence
Right.
Day. Like Chevy Chase is the star of Christmas Vacation. Cousin Eddie has very memorable roles in a few of those vacation movies.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Real tomato ketchup, nothing but the finest, Clark or Eddie or whatever.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, some iconic scenes. They make great T-shirts with his sayings on them. Shitters Full is the fucking best.
That's the one I say all
When
the
it-
time.
Oh,
Yep.
Shitters Full is so great when Clark's just like, yeah, what are you looking at? I'm looking at an asshole. And he's out there in front of the house. I mean, it's great, but Shitters Full. Yeah. So anyways, he seems like he's still out there a bit.
Yeah.
He's probably not wrong about being blackballed or whatever. I don't know what Rupert Murdoch would have to do with it. Is
I'm like,
Rupert
how
even?
did someone steal your house? Like, what are you even saying?
Yeah, I
He
wasn't
probably
going to
just
look into it.
Talked
What's
into he probably just got talked into signing some shit that he didn't read fully. And they
Right,
put a clause like, hey,
yeah.
if you don't do this, we're going to take some money from you. And that money ended up being his house as collateral.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Or he
who
probably took a
knows?
loan and
Yeah.
freaking, yeah.
The lien on his house.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it too. I don't think it was physically like he walked out with his keys and someone said, I think you got something that belongs to me and stole
Yeah.
his house keys. It
Yeah.
probably wasn't as simple as that. But in that bat shitty land, who knows?
Oh, like Holly Bisky here says, if I pronounce that right.
Poor dog.
$5 actually. Poor dog. Also, he's looking more like Vermin Supreme as the years pass, and I agree 100%.
What's Vermin Supreme?
Vermin Supreme is he's a political guy who runs in a bunch of elections with completely ridiculous like policies just to make fun of politics. Like I think he wants to give everybody a pony and switch America over to a pony-based economy, and he also is like the first politician with an actual zombie invasion plan.
What is this? A stupid TV show or something?
No. He's an actual
Or
guy
something.
who just basically
Oh, okay.
runs in elections to make fun of the other candidates.
Okay. All right.
He's fun. You
Yeah.
should look into him. He's got a lot of fun ideas.
I felt bad for the dog. I'm with
Yeah.
whoever that was.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep.
What a
Thank you.
grim house.
Yeah. And I feel like when he's yelling, I'm back, like the neighbors are hearing that.
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't look like a mansion, a hillside manor, if
His
you will.
camera says he's not in a good
10
area.
acres of land. It looks like there's people right outside the window that are. And also looking at that video, the way like she bends over with the mask on, it looks like he's paced that out. So he knows that if I stand up without pants on, that he's paced that out a few times to know, like, you're not going to catch a glimpse of my ball bag or something.
Yeah.
And her bent over with me behind her. If I start thrusting, you're not going to see, like, it looks like that was choreographed on some level.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure. Yes.
And do you think, does that mean he was, like rock that whole time? Cause he kind of went right in and went to action there. There was no,
It was probably just staged. He's a great actor.
Yeah. Great actor.
Great. He is a good actor. We'll give him that. We'll hold off on those till tomorrow, Garrett.
All right.
Let's see here. All right. Frank says some people are just more important than others. Hello, friends. Regarding those pay to pray first class flying cocksuckers you had the displeasure of being around. Okay. So this is what were they called?
Or was our guy the Jesus Fight for Jesus dudes? Oh boy.
Yeah. It was the guys that they were on my flight coming home from Dallas. That were the guy that was watching videos of himself, Todd White, I believe his name was.
Yeah, Todd White. In his,
that was totally not cool. Pigeonholing the sky waitress with a conversation that was likely about converting her to God's side, or maybe soliciting a last-minute hand job in the bathroom. That was neither the time or the place to be doing that. What an asshole! Yeah.
Todd White with his lifestyle Christianity.
Lifestyle Christianity. That's what it was. I guarantee you he was preaching the word up there. And I'm not kidding. 25 minutes when she's trying to start cart service and I'm dying of thirst. And he held her up. Side note about those faith healers. It's incredibly dangerous and predatory. There's a documented history of people attending these church services, ignoring medical care, dying shortly after. And I have a question for you, Mr. Webster, sir. Okay. Why didn't you do your best Beth, the ex-girlfriend impression by pretending the overhead buzzer was a car horn and press it until your finger was bruised, whichever happened first, bruised and cramped up. Yeah. So he's saying I should have just held the buzzer down to demand attention, saying that, yes, my ex-girlfriend would have done something like that. Yeah, I should have. I actually thought about it. That thought did pop into my mind of like pressing the button down.
But kind of like, you're like, I don't want to bother people, man. I don't want to be a problem.
Yeah, I never want to bother people. Honestly, I'm a big mouth on here, but in real life, I don't, I'm not, I just want to be left alone and ignored. So I don't do well with that. Walters at DetroitCast.com. If you want to send an email or two in, I'd love to hear from you. I'll hold some of these. I'll do one. Why not hear from James? Fuck Jonah Hill. He's a faggot. I don't approve of that language. I do not know that James has a card.
I did give him a pass, yes. He does.
Oh, he does have a pass.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good enough.
We're good.
Amy, I know you're busy tomorrow. Maybe we hook up Wednesday.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. You doing anything fun tomorrow, or you got work?
We have a basketball game for the team that I coach. So
awesome.
Yeah, super fun.
Awesome. Well, have fun. Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure talking to you. A lot of good insight. You too, Garrett. Thank you guys both. Garrett, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see the rest of you then.